Hi everyone, my name is Alyssa Grimm and I will be discussing my lesson plan. Unfortunately, since I don't have students, it's kind of hard for me to act out the lesson, even with imaginary students, because this is a very hands-on, interactive lesson, I would say. So it requires a lot of just like the students putting forth effort. Like, it's hard for me to convey that through pretending, I guess you could say, but I do have my whole lesson plan here, so I'm going to break it down and talk about important parts of the lesson plan to try and get across what I was looking to teach my students. So to begin, my lesson plan is on reading English language arts. I chose emotions, and this is for 3rd grade. The lesson itself will take about 90 minutes. Okay, so the purpose of this lesson is to educate students about the 5 basic emotions on a deeper level. Honestly, children become aware of their emotions from a young age, but I think it's important for them to conceptualize them on deeper than just a surface level, especially in today's society. Things are very serious when it comes to portraying emotions and understanding how other people feel. So I just think that this would be a good way for children to get in touch with themselves and other people. So students will be asked to construct a presentation on an assigned emotion. They will be required to talk about like the definition of the emotion, like what it represents. They also will be tasked with adding antonyms and synonyms of their emotion, adjectives that describe their emotion. Once all students have presented, and these presentations will be in groups, they will be able to work on these presentations as a group. They will also then get into the same groups and create a dramatization based off of their emotion. My learning strategy was vocabulary role play, and vocabulary role play is like when you use vocabulary words and act them out, or sort of like, you know, a role play basically in itself, and you use those vocabulary words to connect on a deeper level, to kind of make connections and make and have them resonate. And it's just a different way of learning other than, you know, just auditorial. So that's where the dramatization will come in, and vocabulary role play will be used, because they will be instructed to, you know, take their research from their presentations and incorporate it into their role plays, which is a very important part of this lesson. And then once that is completed and everybody goes through with their dramatizations, the students will be instructed to write a short paragraph involving a time where they felt happy, sad, surprised, angry, scared, at the end of the lesson, to kind of as a closing, as a wrap up. And this is important because this is, you know, they gathered all this new information about like how others feel, how they feel, how to describe it in a better instance, and how to more or less comfort somebody who is feeling a certain emotion, or how to comfort themselves and how to understand how they're feeling. So this is very important, and I want to observe their writings and see if it's surface level understanding or interpretations, or more of a deeper interpretation of emotions. So the PA Common Core standards that correspond to this lesson include CC15F, which is add drawings or other visual displays to presentations when appropriate to clarify ideas, thoughts, and feelings. So that is matches up pretty well to the presentation aspect of this lesson. The second standard is CC.152A, participate in collaborative conversations with peers and adults in small and larger groups, which a lot, like I said, a lot of this is group activity. A lot of it is interactive work. So it's like the only time that they're really doing an independent piece is at the end of the lesson, where I'm observing how they're interpreting emotions. So that's where that comes into play, and obviously as the educator I would be intervening in conversation and, you know, guiding them if they're a little bit lost or confused in any way. Their prior knowledge should involve having, you know, knowledge of emotions. They should know that they feel certain ways and like what makes them feel that way. But this lesson is for them to interpret them on their own, on a, like I said, a deeper level. That is a key word in this lesson, a deeper level. And not only understand how they feel and how to express that, but how to see their peer or a stranger even, and, you know, see like they're picking up on an emotion that's being conveyed by them. And then the last standard is CC.142W, recall information from experiences or gather information from provided sources to answer questions. So this relates to the closing activity, where they reflect on themselves and talk about a time they felt a certain emotion, which is one of the 5 basic emotions that we're talking about within this lesson. So they're channeling their feelings and what they have felt before, and they're reflecting upon that and they're writing about it. And they're gathering information from provided sources to answer questions, such as, you know, they're doing a lot of research, and they're, you know, I will probe questions along the way that I will get into in a little bit, and, you know, that also relates to that. So, like I said, prior knowledge regarding this lesson should involve the understanding of basic emotions. Emotion awareness begins around the preschool age, which is where children begin to understand that they have emotions and they are able to convey them. I'm hoping this lesson allows students to form a deeper interpretation of their emotions, how they feel when they experience them, how others may feel, and different ways to describe their emotions while channeling synonyms for them and writing about a time they felt that specific emotion. So it's educational. We're adding reading and English aspects to it, but it's also, you know, a lot of emotional development. I'm trying to get in touch with that aspect of them as well. Especially in today's society, a stigma is presented where, you know, especially males are felt like that they shouldn't convey their emotions. Especially in previous generations, like, you know, they had the whole manly man stigma where, you know, men weren't allowed to cry or feel sad or anything of that matter. So as an educator, I think it's important to teach students from a young age that it is perfectly fine and normal and expected to experience and convey emotions accordingly. And I think that they should be conveyed by all genders, obviously, and I feel like by expressing this at a young age and letting them get in touch with themselves and you know, internally on a deeper level, that, you know, they won't feel as ashamed, you know, just, you know, telling people about how they feel and like helping people when they feel a different way, which is important. I think we all need a little bit more kindness and understanding in today's society, especially with emotions and how people feel. Okay, so let's continue. Facts about the learners. One student has a specific learning disability and organization, and one other student is an English language learner from Spain. So the adaptations I incorporated for this lesson for these students. So the student who has the specific learning disability and organization will be provided a schedule of the lessons and activities, along with a reference sheet of the 5 basic emotions and with corresponding pictures, and a definition sheet of the lesson's key terms, which is important for somebody who has a learning disability and organization. They need to have structure and they need to have it in front of them to refer to throughout the lesson. And I, as an educator, I feel more comfortable teaching a student in this manner, where I know that, you know, not only do they have me for assistance, but they also have materials that they can reflect back onto if they need it. For the student who is an English language learner from Spain, they will receive a reference sheet of key terms and the 5 basic emotions in the Spanish language. And this reference sheet will include the English and Spanish language. So that way they can, like, you know, because as I mentioned in my PowerPoint, the student is comfortable speaking, but like they still have instances where they need to you know, look back. They, you know, they are not perfected in the English language yet. So by having this reference sheet in front of them, they can refer back when, you know, they don't